Record or another healthcare broken promise, it's time to re-rack the tape. Remember this?
We're going to work with your employer and lower premiums by $2,500 per family per year.
Lower the costs of your premiums. Lower the costs of your premiums by up to $2,500.
A plan that lowers premiums by $2,500.
Premiums are going to be lower.
Whenever insurance premiums go up, you're being told it's because of Obamacare, even though there's no evidence that that's the case.
You know, I heard that so often that after a while I started believing it. So lo and behold, we get word out of California's insurance commissioner that some residents in that fine state will see an 88% pop in their premiums this year. The national average, of course, since the health care law came into being, we've seen about a 30% surge. Back with our Biz All-Stars, Hadley and Mark. Steve, Hadley, I've heard of sticker shock, but that's a big old shock.
And wow, Neil, it's beginning to be hard to think of an Obamacare promise that's actually been kept. So many of the promises about this law have been broken. But when it comes to those premium increases, you know, it's not just happening in California. It's not just happening in the employer market. Many of these people that the insurance commissioner is talking about in the state of California are in the exchange. And you say they might see a premium increase. Actually, they may not actually see their premium increase because Democrats will focus on the subsidized averages of premiums that are available in the exchanges. And I would urge Americans to remember that subsidies don't actually reduce costs. They shift costs. They hide costs. But the unsubsidized price of these insurance plans in the exchange is just enormous.
We should explain, and she's an encyclopedia, but subsidies are something that to counter lower income filers or those who want to enroll to compensate for the costs of the plan itself. And that's being called into as to whether it's even legal the way they're run right now. But Steve, how big a deal is this going to be? Is California just unique, or are premiums really going to continue? It's been a fairly dramatic upswing.
It has been, and what you get for that higher premium is also shocking people. Very, very narrow networks. You didn't have the kind of breadth of coverage that you had before. So there's that, and that's why the administration is allegedly, and I think it's true, putting pressure on insurers. Will find ways to make up for the losses you take if you keep the price increases within line, certainly before the November elections. They don't want a big sticker shock, as you saw in California before the elections. So I think you're going to see more of that kind of pressure, and then they'll have to conjure up a new trick for 2016. But one election cycle at a time for these people.
One at a time. You know, Mark, I remember a lot of folks who just, they're not political on either side, but they always will come up to me and ask the darndest things. And one that's popular on the healthcare thing is, Neil, I'm not really signing up for the healthcare law. I don't need it right now. I have insurance. Let's say they work here. But my premiums have been skyrocketing anyway, and I didn't think that was going to happen. For others who sign up for the health care package and say, well, wait a minute, I guess I'm in a very expensive gold plan, platinum plan, and I'm paying more than I thought I would, and I'm not getting the subsidies I thought. Mass confusion and growing anger.
It's not what we were told. And things are so bad in California that the U.S. senators there even support Prop 45 on the ballot this November, which will empower the insurance commissioner to regulate premium changes, just like utility rates are regulated in the state. That's how bad it is. They recognize that it's gotten so out of control that they need a regulator to come in.
Could the insurance companies actually be real thieves here and taking advantage of that prior to something like that going down?
Sure, absolutely, because they've been incentivized to do it. And the confusion you talk about is there for payers. What's interesting, too, is this is, as your clips indicate, we're going to see those clips in campaign ads this fall, because this is President Obama's read my lips moment. You're going to have the same doctor. Your family's going to pay $2,500 less per year. These are now going to come back to haunt the president, and that will drag down on Democrats.
You know what's weird, Steve? 4 years after this thing came into being, right? There is such confusion, rampant confusion about this, not only the number of enrollees, but what it means. I can't find two doctors, two nurses, two technicians, anyone to agree on what it means.
Well, this is why the whole thing is imploding and why they're doing patch after patch after patch and trying to keep this thing from collapsing altogether. The key thing is just don't get sick for 3 years until we sort this thing out. But in the meantime, it is confusion. And even if you get another insurance policy, one of our daughters, private contractor, lost her insurance, went and got a market, told almost the same, costs more. not at all. A lot of stuff she thought she had, she didn't have. And people are finding out what they're getting is not what they thought they were getting.
Amazing.
And people often forget that doctors are often small business people, and their costs are out of control.
That's an excellent point.
Compliance costs.
Yeah. I always
Well,
said
Neil,
in the beginning,
Steve mentioned.
Go ahead, Heather, real quick.
Steve mentioned the November elections this year. That's very important, and I hope people are paying attention to the fact that the proposed opening for open enrollment for 2015 coverage, the administration wants to start that on November 15th. I think that should be a red flag. Last year, open enrollment started on October 1st, or they tried anyway with healthcare.gov and the failed launch. But I believe pushing it back this year is a very strategic, very political move. They don't want people to see those new rates for 2015 before the midterm elections.
Are you saying that politics is coming into any of this?
Absolutely, at every turn. At every turn.
All right. When we come back, just when you thought it was safe to go back in, a warning to Florida residents. No, not Jaws. A deadly flesh-eating bacteria is in the water. It's spreading. It just gets better and better.